How much have you enjoyed the tournament so far? It's been terrific.
I happen to agree. It's been tremendous. And starting off with maybe the biggest upset of all time when you look at Michigan State going down in the first round. I think everyone thought Michigan State should be a number 1 seed. A 1 has never lost to a 16. So then they barely slip to the 2 seed. They have to play a very good 15 in Middle Tennessee, and they lose, and every expert's bracket is completely blown up because almost everyone that I talked to had Michigan State winning the title the way they were playing coming into the tournament. Then you add a half-court shot by Northern Iowa to win at the buzzer. That was one of the most spectacular shots in NCAA tournament history. And then the following game, Northern Iowa with the biggest meltdown we've ever seen in tournament history, being up 12 with 40 seconds and losing to Texas A&M. It's been a tremendous tournament, an exciting tournament. You parlay that with the way Buddy Hield's been playing. Buddy Buckets has just captivated us with his individual play. I agree. It has to be one of the best in recent memory.
Now, do you expect anything surprising to happen in these next rounds as your fellow number 10 seed? Because people don't remember back in 1999, Miami of Ohio was a 10 seed when you guys went to the Sweet 16. But because of that upset you're talking about, the Michigan State, I felt like Syracuse had a fortuitous path. And obviously they had to get by a very good Virginia team, but to the Final Four. And now we don't know what's going to happen, or at least we can't predict what's going to happen with these Final Four teams.
Yeah, when you look, Syracuse got to the Elite Eight by beating Dayton, who struggled down the stretch, then Middle Tennessee, and then an 11 seed in Gonzaga. That's a nice little road and a fortunate road to get to the Elite Eight, but then to beat Virginia the way they did, the way they had been playing, was an impressive win. I wouldn't put anything by Syracuse. I really wouldn't. And I think the way North Carolina is playing, their offense is looking so good, it's so fluid, that if anything can screw them up and mess with their heads a little bit, it's a complete change in defensive philosophy, which the 2-3 zone brings. You're not going to be able to run a lot of your man-to-man action against that 2-3 zone. That's no ordinary 2-3 zone. With the way they're playing it, those kids are really long. They've been playing really aggressively. They've been getting after people. They've been trapping, forcing a ton of turnovers. So that's an intriguing matchup, and I think if anything can slow down North Carolina the way they've been playing, it's that Syracuse zone.
You know, but you got to make shots to set up, to get back and set up the zone, obviously. I mean, listen, you got to make shots to set up a press, clearly. But it just, I feel like this game has a chance, and no disrespect to Syracuse, because what they've done has been amazing. Even if they were handed a few breaks along the way, they still actually crack through and win games. I believe, Wally, the first game, if I'm paying admission to watch one of the two games, and I'll be there for both, but the first game to me has a chance to be epic between the fast guards, the defensive dynamos, Jay Wright, the coaching styles. Villanova OU to me is much more appealing in terms of the aesthetics of the game and the way I think the game will actually go, because I think it's going to be tight. Whereas I think Syracuse and UNC could be a little bit off the rails. I think UNC can beat them big. I think the first game is the more enticing of the two, personally.
I agree. Those teams are fun to watch. It's must-see TV anytime Buddy Buckets is playing for me. I've watched that guy all year long. He's captivated me with his scoring ability. I think he should be the hands-down National Player of the Year. It's not even a question with what he's done, scoring 46 points at Fog Allen. And then Villanova, like you said, they were the number one team in the country. No one gave them any credit. That team, flat out, is well coached. They play hard on the defensive end of the floor. They play like a team. And they got guys that can shoot the basketball. They were on some tear at the beginning of this tournament with the way they were shooting from the floor and from the three-point line. I think Jay Wright devised a masterful plan to hold Perry Ellis to 1 for 5 against Kansas by switching defenses. And how clutch is Ryan Arcidiacono down the stretch of that game with the big steal, with the big free throws, and making some big shots in that second half. I think this game's going to be a lot of fun. Those two teams met, Oklahoma and Villanova, earlier in the year. Oklahoma beat them easily, but Villanova did shoot 4 for 32 from the three-point line. So I think they're not going to do that again. This game is going to be up and down the floor. I think guys are going to get into rhythm, get an opportunity to light up the scoreboard. I am really looking forward to that game. I agree.
Yeah, Nova's lost twice since January 24. One was the Big East Championship by a bucket to Seton Hall. We're talking to Wally Szczerbiak. And, of course, Wally, terrific college career, very good in the NBA as well. I wanted to ask you this, Wally, because we always try to come up with comparisons, and I'm usually pretty good at this, but I'm having a rough time, admittedly, coming up with an NBA player, past or present, that really reminds me of Buddy Hield. I've thrown out Brandon Roy, but I know he was so much better on the bounce. I've thrown out Mitch Richmond. I'm not loving either. Do you have a better comparison for Buddy Hield?
I like Ray Allen. I really do. I think the way he shoots the ball, he's becoming that good.
Really?
He can shoot it with range, shoots it off the dribble. I think it's Ray Allen. You know, Ray Allen was a guy who was pretty good passing the ball and, you know, creating for his teammates off pick and roll and stuff like that. And Buddy Hield, sometimes he's like I used to be. You know, anytime he takes more than 2 or 3 dribbles, you start to cringe because if he doesn't get a shot up, it could be a turnover. But you know, I like the comparison to Ray Allen. I really do. I think he's got some of that to his game. He's a two-guard with a quick release and infinite range and a high-percentage shooter that can score points in bunches.
Do you think he's going to be a star? Do you think he's going to be a niche guy?
It all depends on what team he gets to.
Yep.
Listen, I think a lot of people didn't anticipate Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry to be stars. And the fact that they're in the perfect system with the perfect fit for their games, he could be a star if he goes to a team like Golden State that just lets him shoot, lets him get into rhythm, lets him, you know, he could score 20, 30 points in a quarter if you let the guy go. But if he gets into a different system where it's not as offensive-oriented, where it's not as three-point predicated, and it's the old adage of, you know, you can't win over the course of a season shooting jump shots, then I don't think he's going to be as effective. But hopefully he goes to a team where they let his game flourish like Lon Kruger has let his game flourish in college.